I'm Randy Scholes with the NIH Recreation and Welfare Association, and we just wanted to do a special thing. Today, as you well aware, is Bike to Work Day, and not only within the NIH community, but within the RNW community, we've put together just a wonderful little ceremony here for people to recognize someone who's done so much for the cycling world, is also the honor of Carl Henn and his Advocacy Award. So I'm going to turn it over to Diane a little bit, and we're going to go through a little process here, and bear with us. And we're really fortunate today. We have, if you can hold up your hand, this is Carl's mom and dad, came all the way up from around Austin, Texas, and his wife Carol, who's with us. And as you well know, Carl was the person who helped begin what is now known as the Bicycle Commuter Club.
Thank you, Randy. Hi, everybody. I hope you had a great ride in this morning. Great weather today, fortunately. And so the way this is going to work, we're going to have a few words from Nancy Breen, who was a co-worker of Carl Henn, and she'll remember him with a few words, and then I'll announce this year's 2012 Carl Henn Bicycle Advocacy Memorial Award winner. So, Nancy Breen.
Thank you, Diane. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. It's a beautiful day, and it's bright and early, and thank you very much for being here. Today is the presentation of the first annual NIH Carl Henn Bike Commuter Award. I think I don't have that quite right in terms of the title, but you can take corrective answer. Bicycle Advocacy Award. And her name's not on there, but we'll leave that as a surprise. So I'm Nancy Breen, as Diane said, as a Rockville resident, an NCI employee, and a member of the Rockville Bike Advisory Committee. I'm honored to share a few words about Carl's life. I want to thank Diane, the organizer of the NIH Bike to Work Day, and the Welfare and Recreation Department for extending this privilege to me. Carl cared deeply about his family, his community, and the environment he lived and worked in. Carl lived these values more deeply than anyone else I've ever known. Although we always knew that his values resonated through every aspect of Carl's life, his memorial service reminded us of just how deeply his commitment and passion for bicycling ran. We all enjoy cycling for the fun and fitness it brings into our lives. While Carl certainly enjoyed bicycling as well, adding pollution to the environment by driving actually pained Carl, as his wife Carol told us at the memorial. At the memorial, those who spoke about his commitment to gardening painted an image of Carl cycling 5 miles from his home to the King Farm garden, carrying spades, shovels, and other large tools on his bike. Transportation via cycling was just one important way that Carl put his principles into practice. Carl also demonstrated commitment to living out his values at NIH. At the NIH Office of Acquisition and Logistics Management, Carl was responsible for implementing training. A few years ago, new training deadlines were approaching, but the monitoring system wasn't ready. Staff emotions were reaching the boiling point. Carl Henn stepped in. Even though it took him months to work out the problems, Carl emailed regular updates to us that rendered our Kafka-esque situation hilarious. Carl's humor diffused our anger, and instead of blowing our tops, staff looked forward to Carl's next email. He both turned a potentially volatile situation into one that we could all laugh about together and made sure the problem got fixed. That was Carl. Principled and clear about what needed to get done, yet committed to thoughtfully communicating to diffuse an impossible situation with his characteristic self-effacing wit. Carl endorsed what he called the hierarchy of resource management: reduce, reuse, recycle, and rebuy. As Diane Frazier, director of OALM, said at his memorial, from his biking to work to his commitment to recycling, Carl was true to his beliefs, one of the few people who walk the walk and talk the talk. Carl was president of the NIH Bike Commuter Club from 2000 to 2005. He made many contributions as president, one of which was adding the NIH pit stop at Executive Boulevard. But perhaps his most important contribution to the BBC was having the foresight to ask Angela Atwood-Moore to succeed him. Angela was always coming up with great new ideas for the BCC and Carl to carry out. At one point, Carl said to Angela, "You know, you have so many great ideas and so much enthusiasm for getting things started. Would you consider becoming the club's president?" He made a motion to the club over the listserv, no one opposed it, and then Angela was president. In addition to the NIH Carl Henn Commuter Award, Carl's hometown of Rockville has also recognized his contributions to cycling. Carl was an active volunteer for the Rockville Bike Advisory Committee and a wellspring of ideas for improving bicycling in Rockville. When Carl proposed an idea, he usually had a strategy on how to move it forward, and he would volunteer to get it done. Carl's final contribution to cycling in Rockville was to improve signage on Rockville's bike beltway, the Millennium Trail. After his death, the city renamed it the Carl Henn Millennium Trail. My NCI colleague, Carrie Clabundi, organized the first Carl Henn Memorial Bike Ride last summer. Please let me know if you're willing to help organize another ride this year or next. This new NIH Bike Commuter Award recognizes Carl Henn's leadership and acknowledges other important leaders in the NIH biking community. The award is given to an outstanding bike commuter, an activist, advocate in Carl's memory. Before the first Carl Henn NIH Commuter Award is presented on behalf of the NIH biking community, I would like to thank Carl's wife, Carol, their daughter, Jennifer, and his mother and father for joining us. The Carl Henn Award will be a reminder of Carl's legacy, as well as a challenge to all of us to channel Carl's optimism, creativity, and persistence. Carl was deeply aware, we have accomplished much, and there remains much more to do. As Carl's accomplishments demonstrate, persistence does eventually pay off, so hang in there. Thank you very much.
There we go, Don. Call Angela.
Thank you, Nancy, for those comments. I just want to mention that it was a very easy decision who to award this prize to this year. We had many new nominations, and they were nearly unanimous for this one individual. And rather than write a full description of everything this person has done, I just want to highlight some of the things that was included in one of the very well-written nominations. This person has been a passionate and tremendously effective advocate for bicycle commuters at the NIH and in the local region. They have helped the NIH Transportation Office improve campus access for bicycles, spearheaded efforts to survey bicycle parking on campus, leading to improvements in rack allocation, developed the Bike Bucks program in cooperation with local bicycle shops in the NIH Fitness Center, and single-handedly ran this time-consuming program for several years. I'm going to leave it at that. There's a much longer list, but we all know that this person has done an incredible amount of work for advancing cycle commuting at the NIH. Without further ado, I want to announce this year's winner of the Carl Henn Memorial Bicycle Advocacy Award, Angela Atwood-Moore. So for all of her hard work, we have two prizes for Angela. One is a small trophy for her to display, showing her victorious accomplishments for cyclists, with her name engraved in the Carl Henn Memorial Award Advocacy underneath. And we also have a gift certificate for a local restaurant that we think Carl would have approved of, called Seasons 52, which
very nice.
Which
Bottle of wine.
features many local produce and seasonal produce. So thank you, Angela, for all you've done. I know you've been an inspiration to me in terms of advocacy and making bicycling better for all. Thank you.
Can you do a little group shot? I'm going to try to. Is that okay? Yeah. Everybody get together. And why don't you? why don't you hand it? Go ahead.
Hold this up here.
You got it.
Such a cute award. It's really cute. Sophie, can you look here? Please in.
Over here, guys.
I want to say there are a couple of kinds of advocates, and both kinds are important. Carl was so great because he stuck to it. He didn't make people angry. He knew how to be diplomatic. He knew how to talk people into stuff without them knowing they were being talked into it. I was much more the thorn in your side type. I made a lot of people angry. But both kinds are important. Both kinds are necessary. So if you don't think you'd be a good bike advocate or you don't think you'd be a bike leader, you're probably wrong. Because we need the strong silent type and we need the agitators. We need them both. And we need lots more people advocating with whatever their social strength is. So like Diane said and like Nancy said, hang in there, keep pushing, keep asking for what we need, and slowly but surely we get it. Thank you.
Well, it's Bike to Work Day, and we've had, I haven't counted the sign-ins yet, but maybe 30, 35 people come by, and had a lot of fun, gave away some goodies, talked about commuting strategies, and I guess the rain kept a lot of folks away, but it's not too bad.
Okay. And where do you ride in from?
I'm from 3 miles away near Wintergreen Plaza down to here on Executive Boulevard.
Okay, and you've been riding sort of year-round?
Yeah, pretty much year-round, and I've been doing it for years now.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you ride?
Well, I ride mostly for environmental reasons is why I started. I saw what we're doing to this planet and didn't want to do any more than I had to in the bad ways to it. So, but that's why I started, but then I found I really enjoyed it. And the health benefits, and you come into work and you feel good to start the day off.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, isn't that a great sticker? I don't know where a friend of mine gave me a whole bunch of them and I've stuck them everywhere. So, I don't know where she got them from. So how was the turnout today?
Not bad considering the rain. Like,
Nice.
I'm to 35, I haven't counted yet.
Oh, really? Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I was going to check in, because I came from downtown Silver Spring, and I was going to check in to see if anyone, last year I led a caravan, and, but I wasn't going to be here this week. I was actually going to go backpacking after the rain. I was like, okay, Dolly saw it's too soggy. So I was like, all right, I'll ride to work. I'll be good. Excellent.
All right.
Do you ride in the winter?
I do.
Yeah. Well, and you work up in one of these buildings?
Yeah, I work right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year I rode more in the winter than in the summer. I was training for a marathon and I thought I wouldn't have enough energy. So this year I have no excuse. Maybe I'll just do a triathlon or something.
Did you run the marathon then?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was loads of fun, but I missed biking. I was afraid that I just wouldn't have enough energy to go. So yeah. So I registered at the last minute. This is a safety so that if we were to go like a pole or anything like that, this actually goes off. And then
Thank you very much. There's your shirt for the week, for the year.
Wow.
Yellow this year, different color every year. You can build half your wardrobe out of Bike to Work shirts if you bike every year. We've got other nice goodies. Hudson Trail Outfitters is doing a little bike safety check, and if you bring in socks and give them to them, they'll give you brand new nice real biking socks. We've got some reflective devices will snap on from the NIH Credit Union.
That's great.
Those are nice.
All right, so did you ride in today?
Yes, I did.
And where do you ride from?
Hungerford neighborhood in Rockville. It's just 3 miles.
All right, and you ride in most of the time?
Yeah, almost all the time. About the only thing that'll stop me is if it's raining when I start the ride, then I don't.
Right.
But even if there's rain in the forecast, it's okay because there's a bus route that can take me home. So, and my bike can lock up underneath the cover.
Right.
So cold weather doesn't stop me. So I'm good on that too.
All right. And what institute are you in?
Office of the Director in the Acquisition Policy Office.
Okay. All right. So what other goodies should we put in this?
Oh, we've got all kinds of stuff. They are giving away bells.
Bells? Oh, look at that. Bells.
Real sweet bells there.
All right. How do I get one of those?
Just walk over there. If they haven't given them all away, I don't think they have. We still have bells left.
There's bells.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we get a bell?
Yeah.
Nobody really likes
Super.
And if you want these nice
Oh yeah,
biking socks,
absolutely. Yeah.
No, go right ahead. Here's a bunch of coupons for you as well for Hudson Trail, and then here's information from Bethesda Cares about where the socks that you donated are going.
All right. Nice.